I blew up after my divorce and not before. So I'm 53, divorced for 6 years from my ex Larry. We met in college doing electrical engineering. Both total nerds with thick glasses and zero fashion sense. But we were happy, or at least I thought we were. After we got married, Larry decided he wanted to be a patent lawyer. That's when everything changed. He started working out, buying expensive suits, got contacts, and the whole transformation. Meanwhile, I'm home with 2 little kids, working full-time, basically running the entire household because he's at the office until midnight every night. I looked exactly the same, plain Jane with my practical clothes and boring haircut. Larry used to love that about me, said I was beautiful just as I was. But once he got all fancy, suddenly I wasn't good enough anymore. He started having affairs with these gorgeous women from his law firm. When I begged him to go to counseling, you know what he told me? The problem was my big nose and my mommy pooch from having kids. Like those were things I could just fix with a makeover or something. I was literally packing divorce papers when our daughter Carla got hit by a car while riding her bike. She survived but needed years of surgeries and rehab. So Larry and I agreed to stay together for the kids, keep things civil. He kept cheating the whole time, but by then I was done caring about his faithfulness. I just wanted to get Carla better. We finally divorced after both kids went off to college. Larry immediately married some 33-year-old from his office. Meanwhile, I'm alone for the first time in decades. That's when I decided to actually focus on myself for once. I colored my hair this nice auburn shade. I lost about 15 pounds at the gym. Bought clothes that actually fit instead of hiding under baggy sweaters. Started going to singles events. Went on actual dates for the first time in years. Nothing crazy, just normal stuff people do when they're single. You'd think my kids would be happy that their mom was finally taking care of herself, right? Wrong. Steve and Carla completely lost their minds. They blamed me for the divorce, saying I was too selfish and lazy to fix myself when it mattered. Steve literally told me he's too angry to invite me to his wedding. His own mother, Carla, barely talks to me anymore. The worst part, they want me to go back to looking frumpy. They said the only way to fix our relationship is if I stop coloring my hair, dress plain again, and most importantly, stop dating. According to them, it's not fair for me to be looking for a new partner. Story 2. I met my boyfriend's work wife for the first time and I'm devastated. Posted by You Thrower Coffee. So throw away the account because this is a pretty personal drama and I don't want all my friends knowing about this just yet. I 23F have been with my boyfriend 25M for 5 years now and he's been at his current job for a few years. We will call him Jake. I've never met any of his coworkers until last night, but there's one in particular who we will call Amy. He sometimes does favors for her, fixing her car, going to her house to fix stuff around her house, etc. And I was never really concerned because he told me all his coworkers are a lot older than him. However, one night while he was asleep, his guy kept blowing up his phone. So I answered to let him know Jake was sleeping and so was I, so please stop calling. Anyways, before I put the phone down, I noticed 5 unread text notifications from Amy. I guess some of the spam notifications were from her. One of them said, "Great Jake, now everyone thinks we are effing lol." This really concerned me. So the next day after Jake got home from work, I asked about it. He said that both he and Amy were late for work that morning, so everyone probably assumed that and it was just a joke. I thought it was a weirdly unprofessional joke and expressed my discomfort. He invited me to the bar with him and his coworkers that night so I could meet her and see it was nothing to worry about. It did not soothe my nerves at all. Turns out Amy is not a lot older than him. She's only 3 years older and super pretty. The entire night she was all over him, touching him, leaning on him, putting his arms around her and even kissed him on the cheek, and he acted like it was normal. They were constantly teasing each other in that middle schooler who didn't know how to properly flirt. She told me all about how she loves him like a brother, and also told me she's had sex with half of their other coworkers, and that she got the next morning off work because she sent a coworker nudes to get him to cover for her. Later on, she started crying and sobbing at the bar. Actual tears because she's so lonely and wants someone to love her, and my boyfriend ended up having to comfort her. I'm just unsure what to do or say. My boyfriend kept acting like this was normal, that he wasn't doing anything wrong by entertaining this behavior. I can't ask him to cut her off. They're in the same unit and they have to work together. I literally do not know what to do about this, but I'm just disgusted knowing this has been going on these years that he's worked with her. How can I set boundaries when they're forced to be around each other all the time at work? Comments with ops response. Commenter, your gut is working. None of that is normal coworker behavior and it's okay to be disturbed. One small step, calmly tell him you need a firm boundary like no touching kisses, no outside of work favors, and see if he actually respects that. Ops response, thank you, I will try that and see if he respects it or not. Most people were telling me to just leave, but a part of me finds it really difficult to end a long-term relationship without at least attempting to talk out the issue with him. Commenter 2, your boyfriend cares for his work wife. I just hate that term more than you. The way they acted, touched in front of you and your boyfriend sees nothing wrong. I think you have underreacted. Ask the question, is he worth it? Op's response. I was just kind of in shock because they did it so blatantly and everyone else was acting like it was normal. She was also super touchy with me and even kissed me on the cheek and hugged me a lot despite it being our first time meeting. So I struggled with wondering if this is just how she is as a person. I know some people are just very touchy and physically affectionate, and I guess that just made me worried I was being paranoid. I don't want to seem like a crazy girlfriend. Commenter 3, it's crazy that he would actually go to her house without you. Like, how do you allow that? Op's response. He does that for his other coworkers too, and vice versa. Like one of the coworkers, she's about 50. She and her boyfriend came over here to help fix our boiler, and he has gone to their place to help them haul firewood and stuff. I thought Amy was older like that, so I thought he was just helping out an older woman. I didn't realize it was something worth worrying about until I met her. Up to another commenter. They work security at a factory. He said they mostly just sit around looking at the cameras. He spends most of his shift playing games on his phone. At the bar, Amy said she slept with some coworkers in a boiler room at the factory and another one in the closet. Up to another commenter. She is the youngest one. There are two others. The first is a bit older, around 50, and views Amy as her own daughter. Basically invites Amy to all her family functions and looks after her. I'll call her Karen for clarity's sake. Anyways, later in the night, Amy actually said to me and my boyfriend, I want Karen's boyfriend to do me doggy style. I was baffled. Karen was like a foot away from us but didn't hear her. Even my boyfriend, for once, acknowledged the weirdness and was like, why would you say that right next to them? It was so weird. Amy claims to view Karen as her adoptive mother yet wants to sleep with her man too. So bizarre. Anyways, the other woman I'll call Linda. She's about 40. She wasn't there. She doesn't like any of the other colleagues and they don't like her. Linda thinks everyone there is trashy and I see why. Update 1 month later. So to start this off, I have to apologize for not updating sooner. It's been a while and I'm not sure if you guys will even remember me or my post. Lol. A lot has happened and I've just been overwhelmed. I want to say thank you to everyone who gave advice. The original post got over 2 million views, so there were tons of comments and I read them all even if I didn't respond. I did not expect it to blow up like that. Before I give the update, I want to give some clarifications about frequently asked questions on the original post. My boyfriend told me that all his coworkers were a lot older than him, but that was when we were discussing other coworkers months prior. So I understand why he didn't happen to mention the one exception, Amy, since she wasn't on topic. He was making a generalization. So, update time. I did end up talking to Jake. I struggle finding a good time to bring it up because we ended up being invited on a spontaneous trip with our friends shortly after I made my post, but I ended up talking to him when we had a moment alone at the hotel. I explained how those behaviors made me feel, and he told me he wanted to discuss this, but wasn't sure how to bring it up either since we didn't talk about it when it happened. I was so emotionally defeated the night we got home from the bar that I went to sleep without a word. Anyways, Jake told me that he was also completely caught off guard by how Amy was acting at the bar. He said that while she did make odd comments every now and then, she had never physically done anything until that night. He let their other female coworker know he was uncomfortable with how Amy acted at the bar and she agreed, and said she would not schedule him with Amy anymore since she manages the schedule. I mentioned in my last post that Amy was constantly boasting about sleeping with a bunch of men and sending them pictures or whatever. I interpreted this as she's trying to tell him he's down to do anything with anyone, including him. She's telling him she's interested. She's telling him she likes having sex. Jake, however, interpreted the flirty comments as her personality because she was that way with everyone and interpreted the sleep with a bunch of men boasting as I'm not interested in you personally, though, which is why he didn't find it odd. You know how when you start talking to someone of the opposite sex, they'll casually slip in a mention of their girlfriend, boyfriend, a way to let you know they're already taken and are only interacting with you platonically. He thought it was like that, and that was why she kept mentioning whoever she was seeing at the time. During our conversation, Jake reassured me that he loves me and only wants me. He apologized for not resolving this sooner and said that he just felt super awkward at the bar when he realized what she was doing and he didn't know how to react. He mentioned that he would never do anything with Amy or anyone like Amy, and that he found her promiscuity and emotional instability to be unattractive. He believed that the reason she suddenly started being so handsy with him that night at the bar was because I was there, and that must have made her lash out. He promised it had never happened before that. After this conversation and him showing me texts from his coworker stating he won't be scheduled with Amy anymore, I felt a lot better until Jake told me he wanted to talk one day. He said that even though he wasn't scheduled on the same shifts as Amy anymore, she started switching shifts with people to work with him. Because of that, he started applying to jobs and later on let me know he got accepted to be a field technician at Redacted for privacy. He put his 2 weeks in at his current job and now he only has 1 week left until he starts. It's a field he's more interested in, has better pay, and obviously Amy won't be there. Overall, I'm currently happy and feel a lot better that he cut her and soon that entire work environment out of our lives. We've been talking about a lot of things since then. Better communication, how we can enforce boundaries even when it's awkward. I know this update is going to make a lot of people displeased. Most responses wanted me to end our relationship, but I'm happy with where things are going currently. Thank you again to everyone who responded, except the few who kept accusing me of being AI lol comments with ops response. Commenter, although Jake is moving on to better things, I recommend he very clearly tell his security company why he elected to move on. What Amy did as observed by other coworkers was a form of sexual harassment, and her changes to work together after the schedule was modified doubled down on the harassment directly leading to your exit. The company needs to be aware that they have a possible liability on their staff. Ops response: thank you for the advice. I didn't think of this, I'll definitely mention it. Hopefully it'll spare other people from having to deal with this. Downvoted comment or two: I'm struggling to see this as positively as the other comments. The absence of Amy isn't the absence of opportunity. He didn't shut her down or defend you that night at the bar and didn't talk to you about this afterwards. And you believe his claim that she only acted that way that night. And you believe that no one usually behaves like that unless there has been a prior buildup in consent. I think the alcohol dropped her inhibitions of what's been going on at work in subtlety. Sounds like your partner was doing damage control because you were there. Ops response: I understand your concern. You know, before we were dating, when we kissed for the first time, he said he was relieved because he wasn't sure if I liked him romantically too, or if I just viewed him as a close friend. I was like, dude, I've been sleeping in your bed the last 3 nights. We wrestle. I bake you homemade cornbread because you said it was one of your favorite foods. I hug and touch you all the time. How much more obvious could I have been without coming right out and saying it? Lol. I do genuinely believe he interpreted things exactly how he said he did and that he didn't realize she was flirting until the night at the bar. He's clueless sometimes. I can forgive clueless. We all have character flaws and clueless is far from the worst character flaw to have. I do thank you for your concern though. I know you're just giving honest advice so I don't end up let down. Scaling story segment. You know, initially reading the original post, I thought there was definitely something wrong with the interaction between Jake and Amy and how Jake was handling it. Like he invited Op out to the bar to meet Amy for the first time and Amy is all touchy with him, making inappropriate sexual jokes. Like, hey man, are you really that clueless? This is the first impressions meeting that you wanted to show your girlfriend that nothing inconspicuous is going on because she saw that text message about great Jake. Now everyone thinks we are effing lol. I don't like to be mean, but that's just straight up being really inconsiderate of your partner and their feelings. I would have kept insisting that that was not normal behavior like her boyfriend was telling her in the original post and pressed harder for him to see my perspective for sure. I was also skeptical of Jake's reasons for brushing off Amy in the update post, but his actions immediately swapping shifts and later quitting to find a new job because Amy tried to follow him gave me some faith in him. So I can see how maybe he froze up if that was the literal first time she's ever done that to him and he was trying to not make a big deal out of it.